Chosen one. You did not click this by accident. Heaven scheduled this moment with your name on it. Right now, you are standing at the edge of a supernatural shift, a divine wealth transfer, a move of God that will touch both your spirit and your situation. Anointed one. The Lord is not just changing your surroundings, He is realigning your destiny. Eye has not seen and ear has not heard what He has been quietly preparing for you. Take a breath. Open your heart. This is a holy summons. What is coming next will prove that God Himself is moving you. Chosen one. The place you are in right now has seen too much. These walls have watched you break down, quietly wipe tears in the dark, pray prayers you were too tired to say out loud. They have held your whispered, "God, is this it? Is this all my life will be?" And heaven has heard every single one of those moments. Anointed one. You are not crazy for feeling like you don't fit here anymore. You have simply outgrown a room that was only meant to be temporary. What once felt like protection now feels like a cage. That tightness in your chest, that heaviness when you walk through the door that way, your joy seems to shrink inside these walls. That is not failure. That is holy evidence that God is calling you out. He is not abandoning you. He is repositioning you. The same God who led His people out of places that no longer carried their future is now putting His hand on your back gently but firmly and saying, "It's time." Heaven is already shifting the atmosphere around your life. This next move is not just about getting a nicer space or a different view. God is not interested in cosmetics. He is interested in covenant. Chosen one. He is not just taking you to a new address. He is taking you into a new assignment, a new flow of provision, a new level of spiritual authority. What looks like relocation in the natural is a supernatural transfer in the spirit. Maybe right now your reality looks like the opposite. Maybe the numbers don't add up, the opportunities aren't clear, and your heart feels too tired to risk believing again. I understand that. I remember a season when I stood in a small, cramped room that had seen my worst nights. I had bills stacked on the table, disappointment in my chest, and no idea how God could possibly move me forward. But deep inside I could feel it. This is not where my story ends. That quiet knowing you feel, that is God. Chosen one. The pressure you are under is not proof that you are failing. It is proof that you are expanding. You are stretching out of a season that can no longer contain who you are becoming. God is not just moving your feet. He is restoring your soul. He is breaking stagnation off your life, lifting the thick silence that has tried to smother your faith, and putting His hand on doors you could never open by yourself. There is an open door being prepared that no one will be able to shut, and your name is already on it. This word is not floating in the air. It has an address in the spirit, and it is landing on you. You have been asking for a sign, a confirmation, something clear that says, yes, it's time to move. Yes, it's time to trust. Chosen one. This is that confirmation. Heaven is not playing with your emotions. God is serious about what He is shifting in your life, your environment, your finances, your relationships, your sense of calling. All of it is being realigned. I need you to hear this with your spirit. You are not just moving out of something, you are moving into something. You are being guided toward a place where peace will live in the walls, where your mind will quiet down, where ideas will flow again, where favor will begin to rest on you in ways you could never manufacture. This is what a divine transfer looks like in real time. New keys, new access, new streams, new assignments. The blessing is not just the house. The blessing is the life that begins to unfold in that house. You have felt it for a while now, haven't you? You keep going through the motions, but there is a quiet disturbance in your spirit. You smile, you work, you serve. But deep down, something doesn't sit right anymore. What you used to tolerate now grates against you. What you used to explain away now feels like a weight. That is not just fatigue, that is divine restlessness. Your spirit is pacing even when your body is still. Anointed one. This is not anxiety. It is not imagination. It is not you being ungrateful. It is the Holy Spirit signaling a shift. God is preparing to move you body, mind, and spirit out of a place that has drained your peace and dulled your purpose. Some locations once held your miracle, but now hold only memories. Some rooms were perfect for your last version, but they are too small for who you are about to become. This next move is not just about a roof over your head, it is about the weight of your calling. There are assignments attached to your next address. There are divine connections you've not met yet, ideas you've not birthed yet, resources that will only unlock when you step where God is leading. That is why the old space has become so uncomfortable. You are trying to live tomorrow's calling in yesterday's container. Yes, there are seasons where God keeps us in uncomfortable places to refine us, to prune us, to strip away false identities. But there also comes a holy moment where heaven says, enough. Rise. Break camp. It is time to move. Chosen one. You are standing at that line right now. You are not just being pulled away from the old. You are being summoned into the new. And in this moment, before anything changes on the outside, God is doing the first and most important work on the inside, convincing your heart that you are truly called, truly chosen, truly ready for what is coming. Chosen one. Let me talk to that restlessness that will not leave you alone. You've tried to reason it away. You've told yourself, maybe I'm just tired. Maybe I just need a vacation. Maybe I should be more grateful. But the truth is, you can't shake it. The worship songs help for a moment. The deep breaths help for a moment. But as soon as the noise fades, that same question rises again in your chest. Am I supposed to stay here? That question is not rebellion. It is revelation. Anointed one. There is a difference between running from a place and being released from a place. When the flesh runs, there is chaos. When the spirit releases, there is clarity. And even if you don't see all the steps yet, something in you knows the grace for this place is lifting. I remember a season where I felt exactly what you feel now. The room I lived in had become my survival cave. It had seen me cry, pray, fast, and break. I told God, if you move me, I'll go. If you keep me here, I'll stay. And for a while there was grace to stay. But then, slowly, I started to sense a shift. The same room that once felt like covering started to feel like a ceiling. Conversations that were once light became heavy. Opportunities dried up. Even the air felt thick. I didn't understand it at first, but now I know when heaven starts rearranging your life, discomfort is often the first signal. Not because God is cruel, but because comfort will always make you want to stay in places that no longer carry your future. Chosen one. Hear this in love. Some environments were only meant to be a hospital, not a home. They were meant to help you recover, not to hold you forever. That job, that apartment, that city, that relationship season, it served its purpose. It sheltered you in a storm. but it cannot carry the weight of what God is about to place in your hands. You are stepping into a time where God is not just talking about peace, He is insisting on it. The pressure you feel in your current space is not punishment. It is prophetic. It is heaven saying, this ground is finished. I am making room for new ground. The very room that feels heavy now will one day be the place you look back on and say, that is where God told me it was time to move. Anointed. 1. Not every open door is a God door. Some doors look attractive because they are bigger, prettier, or more impressive. But God is not sending you into a house built on old trauma, old curses, or old compromise. The next place He is preparing for you is not just square footage. It is sanctuary, it is atmosphere, it is alignment. That is why your discernment is so sharp right now. You're noticing things you used to ignore, the tension in the air, the arguments that spiral for no reason, the sleepless nights, the way your spirit never really rests. You are not too sensitive. You are spiritually awake. You are picking up on what your environment is doing to your spirit. There are homes that provide shelter but starve your calling. There are neighborhoods that feel safe on the outside but choke your purpose on the inside. There are rooms that hold furniture but can't hold your future. Chosen. One God loves you too much to leave you in a place that drains what He is trying to grow. And yes, sometimes leaving looks unreasonable. It may not make sense on paper. Your bank account might say, not possible. Your logical mind might say, this is too risky. But remember this, the same God who led His people out of Egypt did not ask them if they felt ready. He asked if they would trust Him. The way may not be clear, but His voice is. I need you to really sit with this. You are not just being moved, you are being upgraded. This is not just relocation, this is restoration, this is wealth transfer in a form people don't always talk about: land, peace, stability, opportunities, open doors that lead to resources you could never have engineered by yourself. In this next space, your creativity will breathe, your ideas will grow, and divine connections will find you faster. Think about how heavy your spirit has felt in this current place. The arguments that keep circling, the way your energy crashes for no reason, the constant feeling that you're pushing everything, pushing peace, pushing hope, pushing yourself through every day. In the next place, that push will break. You will wake up and feel rested. Your thoughts will be clearer. Your prayers will feel lighter. Worship will flow again. That is what happens when atmosphere and assignment finally match. Chosen one. You are not imagining the weight. You are discerning it. The enemy loves to occupy territory where people are too afraid to move. He thrives in stagnation, in I guess this is just my life now, in maybe I'm asking for too much. That is why your spirit has been so restless. God is breaking that agreement. He is canceling that resignation. He is reclaiming you, and through you, reclaiming the ground under your feet. Listen to me. The next space God is preparing for you is a place where laughter will return, real laughter, the kind that makes your eyes water and your chest ache in the best way. It is a place where sleep will feel like healing, not escape. It is a place where conversations will build you, not break you, where your ideas will be taken seriously, where your gifts will finally make sense. And know this shift will not be the result of hustle, manipulation, or forcing doors. It will happen by my spirit in a way that is precise, uncanny, and undeniable. A key will appear, a door will open, a message will arrive, a conversation will unexpectedly align. It will be so specific that your spirit will know this was God. We are going to talk about how to recognize that door and how to leave the old behind without fear. But before we go there, I want you to let one truth settle deep into your heart. You are not being pushed out. You are being called out. And what God calls you into will always be greater than what He calls you out of. Chosen one. Now let's talk about the door. Because if God is moving you, the enemy will either try to make you panic and rush into the wrong door, or sit in fear and miss the right one. Heaven is not just opening a way. Heaven is opening your way. And your spirit already feels the difference. Anointed one, the right door from God carries a certain weight. It may not look flashy, but it feels clean. It may not impress everybody, but it brings your spirit into peace, not confusion. When it is God, the wrestling is usually inside you before the door opens, not after. Once the door appears, there is a quiet knowing, a holy stillness under the nerves. I've seen it in my own life. There were moments I chased what looked logical, only to feel drained the moment I stepped into it. And then there were moments where the option didn't make sense on paper, but there was a presence on it. Conversations aligned, timings aligned, provision showed up in ways I could not have manufactured. It was like heaven was saying, "You walk, I'll handle the rest." Chosen one. This is how you begin to recognize your door. You stop asking, "Does this make me look successful?" And you start asking, "Does this protect my peace, my purpose, and my walk with God?" The next place He is inviting you into is not just about aesthetics. It is about assignment. A beautiful house with no presence will still drain you. A smaller, quieter place dripping in peace will grow you. You might be wrestling right now with all the what-ifs. What if I misheard God? What if it doesn't work out? What if I leave and regret it? Chosen one, faith will never feel like certainty in your mind. It will feel like conviction in your spirit. You may still feel butterflies. You may still feel weak in your knees. But somewhere deeper than anxiety, there is a quiet yes pulsing in your chest. That yes is not you being reckless. That yes is God giving you courage to step out of a chapter that has expired. But to walk through your next door, you cannot drag old chains with you. This is where many miss it. They change houses, but keep the same heaviness. They change locations, but carry the same unforgiveness, the same bitterness, the same fear of lack. And they wonder why the new place starts to feel like the old one. Anointed. One God is not just changing your environment, He is upgrading your inner atmosphere. This is why He has been bringing certain memories to the surface lately. That conversation that still stings, that betrayal that still whispers you're not safe, that season of lack that still makes you flinch every time you look at your bank account. He is not bringing these things up to torment you. He's bringing them up so you don't pack them. He's saying, we are not carrying this into what's next. The next chapter is too holy to be built on old fear. And yes, for some of you, this move will include a financial shift. Not just barely enough to survive, but a level of provision that matches your assignment. Provision for stability, provision for rest, provision to create, to give, to host, to build. This is part of the divine transfer. Not just money into your hand, but margin into your life. Space to breathe, space to heal, space to think beyond survival. Chosen one. You have fought in survival mode for so long that rest almost feels suspicious. Abundance almost feels wrong. But in this next season, God is going to train you to live like someone who is loved, not like someone who is constantly bracing for loss. The new place is not a trap. It is a training ground for overflow. There will be signs along the way. Little confirmations that whisper you're on the right path. A stranger saying exactly what you prayed in private. A door closing that forces you to look in the direction God has been trying to highlight. A listing you randomly see that matches what you journaled months ago. People who quietly say, "I don't know why, but I felt led to help you." Don't shrug those moments off. In transitions like this, heaven rarely shouts. Heaven threads. Tiny threads of alignment that, when you pause long enough to notice, form a pattern you cannot deny. This is why you must stay present, stay listening, stay sensitive, not fearful, not frantic, just awake. And chosen one, please hear this. There will be people who do not understand what God is asking you to do. Some will call it irresponsible. Some will tell you you're doing too much or expecting too much. Some will project their own fear of change onto your obedience. Love them, but do not let them talk you out of what God is clearly talking you into. There are journeys in life where applause becomes a distraction. This is one of them. You are not called to be understood by everyone in this season. You are called to be aligned. And alignment will sometimes look like walking away from the crowd to follow the cloud. We are going to go deeper into what it actually means to leave the old behind and how to release people, patterns, and possessions that cannot cross into your next chapter. But before we step into that, I need you to mark this in your spirit. You are not chasing a fantasy. You are responding to a call. And the same God who is stirring your spirit is already standing in the future, waiting for you on the other side of the door. Chosen one. Now we have to go where it really hurts. Because it's one thing to say, God is moving me, but it's another thing to admit, to move with God, I have to let some things go. You are not just being invited into a new place. You are being invited into a new version of you. And that version cannot stand if it's built on the same fear, the same patterns, the same alliances that almost destroyed you. Moina said to the one, not everything you love is allowed in your next chapter. Some relationships were grace for a season, but they became weight when the season shifted. Some routines once kept you afloat, but now they keep you stuck. Some habits once numbed your pain, but now they blur your vision. It's not that all of it was evil. Some of it was survival. But survival is not your destiny. Walking in promise is. I remember a season when I begged God to change my surroundings, but I refused to release what was poisoning my peace. I wanted a new land, but I was still loyal to old mindsets. I was clinging to friendships that secretly resented my growth, environments that normalized my exhaustion, and patterns that kept me apologizing for existing. I kept asking, Lord, why isn't the door opening? And gently He showed me, you want a new place, but you're still packing the old chains. Chosen one. This is where heaven gets very specific. You might feel names rising in your heart as you listen. Places, objects, memories, conversations that still replay in your mind. This is not random. This is heavenly inventory. God is placing His hand on things that cannot enter what He is about to bless. Not because He wants you empty, but because He wants you light enough to be carried by His wind. For some of you, what must be released is not people first, but stories. The story that says, I always lose. The story that says good things are temporary. The story that says I'm too late, too broken, too behind for God to do something big. Anointed one. Those are not just thoughts, they are spiritual contracts. They bind you to smallness. They attach your identity to past seasons God has already walked you out of. A divine transfer of wealth, opportunity, or influence cannot rest on a heart that secretly believes it is unworthy to receive. So the Spirit is coming for those lies, not to shame you, but to free you. There will also be people you cannot carry into this next space. Some were beautiful for a time, but they no longer agree with who you are becoming. When you mention faith, they roll their eyes. When you talk about dreams, they change the subject. When you speak about what God is doing, they call it too much or too deep. Chosen one agreement matters. You cannot walk into a promised place with people who are committed to staying in Egypt internally. I know that sounds harsh. I know what it feels like to sit in a room full of familiar faces and quietly realize I can't stay at this level anymore. The jokes don't land. The conversations drain you. The atmosphere feels heavier than it used to. It's not that they are all bad people. It's that your spirit has shifted. Your calling has matured. Your hunger has grown. And sometimes the holiest thing you can do is quietly step back. Not with drama, not with a performance, just with a firm, gentle yes to where God is leading you. You can still love them, still pray for them, still be kind, but you cannot shrink yourself to make their comfort your God. There are doors in front of you that will not open until you stop dragging crowds God never called into your next. There are also physical things tied to old seasons that need to be released. Objects that carry the weight of past trauma. Gifts from people who betrayed you. Items that remind you of who you had to be to survive, not who you are now called to be. It might seem small, but I have watched what happens when someone cleans a closet in obedience to God's whisper. They throw out the thing that keeps triggering their grief, and suddenly the air in their home feels different. Sometimes the first step of divine relocation is throwing away what keeps your soul anchored to yesterday. Chosen one. You are not just cleaning house, you are cleansing atmosphere. You are saying, Lord, if this doesn't honor where you're taking me, I release it. That simple act becomes a prophetic act. Heaven reads it as faith. And faith, even when it feels tiny and trembling, still moves mountains. You're not trying to impress God with your sacrifice. You are simply agreeing with Him, I won't drag what you've already delivered me from. This is why some doors have seemed stuck. It wasn't that God did not hear you. It was that He refused to answer in a way that would let your past ride on top of your promise. He loves you too much to do that. A new home, a new position, a new stream of income without an upgraded inner life is not a blessing, it's just a prettier battlefield. And your Father is not interested in decorating your bondage, He is interested in ending it. So as we move forward, I want you to ask yourself a simple but piercing question. What do I know deep down cannot come with me? A belief, a relationship, a habit, a secret, an atmosphere. Sit with that. Let the Holy Spirit highlight it. Because Chosen One Heaven is not only preparing your new place, Heaven is preparing you. And the sooner you agree to release what cannot live in your next chapter, the sooner you will feel the ground under you begin to shift toward the door with your name on it. Chosen One. Let me take you a little deeper into this, because what God is doing in you is not just emotional, it is economical, spiritual, generational. This move, this shift, this divine relocation is connected to a supernatural transfer. Heaven is not only moving your body, Heaven is moving resources, relationships, and opportunities into alignment with your calling. You may look at your current bank account and feel the tension. You see numbers that do not match the vision God placed in your heart. You feel the weight of rent, bills, responsibilities, and you wonder, how, Lord, how can I leave the old behind when I don't even see the way forward? Anointed One, I hear this strongly for you. What God is calling you into, God Himself will fund. When Heaven orders the move, Heaven also releases the means. This is not an invitation to recklessness. This is an invitation to trust. There is a difference between stepping out on impulse and stepping out on instruction. Tonight, you are not being pushed by panic. You are being guided by presence. I remember a season where everything in my life felt tight. Money was tight. Time was tight. Options were tight. I knew in my spirit God was saying, it's time to move, but my reality screamed, stay where it's safe. I wrestled for months. I did the math over and over, and it never added up. But every time I prayed, every time I worshipped, I felt the same quiet nudge. Do you trust me more than your calculator, chosen one? God is asking you a similar question, not because he wants you to be irresponsible, but because he wants you to know that your provision is not chained to one address, one job, one system, or one person. When he reassigns you, he also reassigned the flow of favor attached to your name. There came a moment in my own story where I finally said, Lord, if you are really in this, I will step where you tell me to step, even if I can't see the floor yet. I didn't have everything. I just had enough for the next right step. And the moment I moved in obedience, it was like the atmosphere shifted. Doors that had been sealed suddenly cracked open. Unexpected favor showed up. A bill was covered I wasn't expecting to be covered. A job opportunity appeared that didn't exist 2 weeks before. None of it made sense on paper, but it made perfect sense in the spirit. That is the kind of choreography God is preparing for you, chosen one. You are not stepping into chaos. You are stepping into a carefully prepared sequence of divine appointments. There are people who have never met you who are already being stirred to say yes to your name. There are systems being reconfigured, policies being adjusted, hearts being softened, all to make room for what God has written over your life. And hear this clearly, this is not just about survival money. This is about assignment money. Heaven is positioning you so that you are not always gasping for air, scraping for what you need. You are being set where you can think clearly, give freely, build boldly, and serve without the constant chokehold of fear. There is a difference between a roof over your head and a realm where your calling can breathe. God is moving you into that realm. Anointed one. The financial pressure you have felt is not proof that God forgot you. Many times it is proof that the old container can no longer sustain what he is about to pour. He is not punishing you, he is loosening your attachment. If all your security was still in the old place, you would never leave. So he let certain streams dry up, not to destroy you, but to detach you. Tonight, I want you to do something in your heart. I want you to surrender your timelines, your calculations, your it has to happen like this plans, and simply say, Lord, I am available for how you want to move me. That simple yes shifts everything. When you release control, you make room for a level of creativity and provision you never would have seen if you were still clenching your fists. Expect this in the days ahead. Unusual favor, small signs that seem insignificant but carry deep meaning, conversations that suddenly open doors, opportunities that do not match your qualifications but match your calling. These are hints that the transfer has already begun. You are not waiting for God to start. God is waiting for you to agree. And as you agree, chosen one, remember this, you are not just moving out, you are moving up. You are not just leaving a place, you are entering a position. Heaven is not relocating you to embarrass you. Heaven is relocating you to display you as a living testimony of what obedience looks like when it is matched with divine timing. In the next part, we are going to go even deeper into how to walk this transition out without losing your peace, your faith, or your discernment. Chosen one, by now you can probably feel it deep in your chest. The shift is no longer just an idea in your mind. It is a quiet pull, a subtle ache, a sense that you are standing with one foot in what was and one foot in what is coming. This is the holy tension between old and new. It is the spiritual hallway where doors are closing behind you and you can hear another one unlocking in front of you, even if you cannot see it yet. This is where many people turn back, not because God changed his mind, but because the past still has hooks in their heart. The enemy knows he cannot stop what God has spoken, so he tries to keep you entangled instead. Not just with obvious sins or chaos, but with nostalgia, guilt, false responsibility, and fear of disappointing others. Anointed. One part of leaving the old behind is understanding that not everyone will understand your obedience, and that has to be okay. There are places, relationships, and patterns that once felt like shelter, but have now become cages. You can feel it in the way your spirit gets heavy the moment you walk through the door, in the way your joy shrinks to fit the atmosphere, in the way you constantly apologize for needing peace, space, or silence. This is not you being dramatic. This is your spirit telling you, we don't belong here anymore. When God lifts His grace off a place, staying becomes suffocating. I remember walking through a hallway of a home that once felt like a miracle to me. At first, every corner felt like answered prayer, but over time it turned into a museum of old versions of me. Pictures on the wall carried stories I had already outgrown. Furniture held memories of arguments, tears, and compromise. I kept trying to fix the vibe with worship music and incense and rearranging the furniture, but nothing changed the atmosphere. One day in prayer, I heard the Lord whisper, "You're trying to heal what I'm trying to move you out of." Chosen. 1. Some things you are trying to repair are actually things God is trying to retire. It doesn't mean the place was evil. It means its assignment in your life is complete. The chapter did what it needed to do. It sustained you, taught you, refined you, exposed what needed healing. But now, heaven has issued a new instruction. And when God says, "Arise," lingering becomes disobedience, disguised as loyalty. Leaving the old behind is not just about walking away physically, it is about releasing spiritually. That means forgiving yourself for the choices you made in that season, forgiving others for how they mishandled you, and blessing what was even as you step into what will be. You are not cursing the old land. You are simply agreeing with God that its role in your story is finished. There is a grace in saying thank you for what you were to me, but I cannot stay here and still become who I truly am. Anointed one, as you release, something powerful happens in the unseen realm. Heaven begins to reassign what was once tied to the old season into the new one. The finances that seem stuck start to shift. Ideas you could not access suddenly flow. People who were distant start thinking of you again. Divine connections begin to appear, not because you forced them, but because you finally made room. Release always precedes transfer. God will not pour new oil into a vessel that refuses to let go of what has already spoiled. This is also the stage where you must guard your atmosphere with more intention than ever. Not everyone can speak into this transition. Some will project their fear onto your faith. Some will try to drag you into endless conversations about what if it doesn't work, not because they hate you, but because your movement exposes their stagnation. You do not owe everyone an explanation. You owe God your obedience. Share the details only with those who know how to pray, not those who just know how to panic. Let peace be your compass, chosen one, not comfort, not convenience. Peace. There will still be butterflies. There will still be unknowns. But beneath all of that, there will be a quiet yes in your spirit that says, "This is the way, walk in it." That peace is not the absence of all questions. It is the presence of God in the middle of them. Follow that. Protect that. Let that be the voice louder than fear, louder than opinions, louder than your own second guessing. Soon you will begin to notice that the old environment no longer fits you like clothes 2 sizes too small. Conversations that once held your attention now feel shallow. Certain rooms feel dim, not because they changed, but because your light grew. Do not shrink to make it feel normal again. This is your sign that your spirit is already moving even before you physically do. In the next part, we will step into what it looks like when you actually cross that threshold and how you will recognize without a doubt that you have entered the place heaven prepared for you. Chosen. 1. Let us talk about what happens when you finally cross that invisible line and step into what God prepared for you. There will be a day it might look ordinary on the surface when you walk into a space, a conversation, an opportunity, and something in you whispers, "This is not like where I came from." Your body will notice before your mind catches up. Your shoulders drop. Your breathing slows. Your thoughts, which used to race in circles, suddenly feel clear. That is not just relief. That is recognition. Your spirit will know, I have stepped onto new ground. When God moves you, He doesn't only change what you see, He changes what you sense. In the old place, even on your best days, there was a constant low hum of strain. You had to push to feel okay. You had to fight just to stay above water. But in the new, you will notice that peace is not something you chase. It's the atmosphere you walk into. It's in the walls, in the light, in the way time feels less heavy. You might find yourself crying for no obvious reason. That's what happens when a weary soul finally finds a place it doesn't have to brace itself anymore. Anointed One. This next space is not just about comfort, it is about alignment. God is not moving you just so you can say, I finally got out. He is moving you so you can say, now I can fully become who I really am. In this new environment, the ideas that were stuck inside you will start to flow. The book you tried to write for years suddenly has words. The business plan that felt impossible now has clarity. Connections appear that you didn't chase. This is what divine alignment feels like, less forcing, more flowing. I remember stepping into a new season once, and at first I felt almost guilty. I was so used to struggle that ease felt wrong. I kept waiting for something to go wrong for the old chaos to show up again. But one day in prayer I felt God say, stop interrogating the blessing. You're not in the battle you left anymore. Chosen One, you might feel that too. You've been trained by warfare to expect attack, even in safe places. Do not let old trauma convince you that peace is a trap. Peace is proof that God really did what He promised. In this new place, you will also notice something about your relationships. The people who were attached to your version in the old season will either rise with you or quietly fade away. Do not panic when some fade. Not everyone has the capacity to walk with the new you. In fact, this is one of the clearest signs that your environment has shifted. Conversations change. You will start meeting people who talk about purpose, stewardship, healing, creativity, kingdom assignment. People who don't drain you but sharpen you. People who see your value without you having to shrink, explain, or prove. And listen carefully, Anointed One. This move is not only emotional or spiritual, there is a financial dimension to it too. For many of you, God is relocating you into spaces where provision can finally meet your purpose. New job offers unexpected income, open doors, in business favor with decision makers. These are not random. They are part of a supernatural transfer. You are being moved from surviving to building, from counting every coin in fear to managing resources with wisdom and peace. Not flaunting, not chasing status, but finally having enough to do what God put in your heart. This is where stewardship matters. In the old season, you learned how to stretch small things, how to pray over small seeds. In this new season, God will ask you to handle more responsibility, more resources, more influence. The same God who carried you when you had almost nothing is the one who will teach you how to move when you have more than enough. Do not be afraid of overflow. It's not punishment, it's preparation for the assignments ahead. There will come a moment, maybe standing in a new room, maybe looking at signed papers, maybe after a conversation that changes your trajectory, when you quietly say to yourself, "This would not have been possible without God." Hold on to that sentence. That is your anchor. That is your reminder that this is not luck, not coincidence, not just your hard work finally paying off. It is the evidence of a God who rewrote the story while you were still wiping tears in the old place. Chosen one. You are not just stepping into a new address, a new city, or a new job. You are stepping into a new identity expression. The version of you that could only dream in the dark is now going to build in the light. In the next part, we will go even deeper into how to protect this new season, how to handle the transfer with wisdom, and how to make sure you do not slip back into patterns that belong to the land God already called you out of. Chosen one. As heaven rearranges the map beneath your feet, there is one more layer to this move that your spirit needs to understand. This is not only about where you will live, it is about who you will become inside that place. God is not just moving a person, He is unveiling a dimension of you that could never unfold in the old environment. In the old space, you survived. You learned how to pray in tight corners, how to worship with a lump in your throat, how to trust God when nothing around you agreed with what He promised. That season produced oil, anointed one. The tears, the stretching, the nights you felt forgotten, all became part of a holy transaction. Heaven was gathering what looked like fragments and turning them into currency for your next level. This is why the move you are stepping into is also a divine financial realignment. In the old place, your money was always under pressure, always leaking, always tied to crisis. In the new God is teaching you how to steward overflow, not just survive drought. I have seen this shift in my own life. There were seasons where every bill felt like a battle and every opportunity slipped through my fingers. But when God moved me, the same job, the same gifting started producing differently. Favor increased. Doors that were once bolted shut began to open gently, almost quietly, as if heaven had changed the atmosphere around my name. That is what is coming for you, chosen one. Not lottery blessings, but aligned blessings. Not random checks, but strategic provision. Clients, ideas, partnerships, and resources that match your calling, not just your desperation. God is pulling you out of survival math and into kingdom flow. In this next space, you will see how peace itself becomes a magnet for provision. When your nervous system is not on constant alert, your creativity wakes up. When your spirit is not dodging warfare in every room, you can finally hear the strategies heaven has been whispering. But hear me clearly, this promotion is not just about wealth, it is about worship. You are being trusted with a home, a life, a level that will preach louder than any sermon. The way you manage your time, your finances, your relationships in this next chapter will either confirm or contradict what you say you believe. Heaven is giving you more, so you can live as evidence that God really does move His people from bondage to promise. So even now, before you see the contract, before you hold the key, start aligning your inner world with where God is taking you. Speak like someone who is being relocated by grace, not fear. Plan like someone who expects goodness, not disaster. Make decisions like someone who knows their next address was written in God's heart long before it appears on any paper. Because, chosen one, this move is already in motion, and the version of you who will stand in that new place is already rising inside you right now. Chosen one. As we come to the close of this word, I need you to hear this in your spirit. You are not waiting for your moment. You are standing in it. This is your Kairos time, your appointed hour. Heaven's paperwork has already been signed. The move, the shift, the release is in motion right now. Anointed one, I speak over you by faith that every invisible chain connected to the old season is breaking. May the God who goes before you open the right door, close every counterfeit, and lead you into the home, the space, the life that was written for you before you were born. May your next place be saturated with peace, thick with presence, and overflowing with divine provision. I bless your mind with clarity, your heart with courage, your feet with holy direction. You will not miss what God is doing. You will not stay where His cloud has already moved. You are leaving the old behind, and you are walking into what's coming with boldness, gratitude, and trust. Chosen one, stay faithful, stay sensitive, stay aligned with the flow of the anointing on your life. Thank Him now for keys you have not yet held and doors you are about to walk through. If this word confirmed something deep in you, you can simply type Amen in the comments as your agreement with heaven and stay connected here for the next word in this journey. Until then, may the peace of God go before you, stand beside you, and wait for you in the place He is preparing. Your next chapter is already blessed.